On one wall of Roy's bedroom was a poster from the Livingston Rodeo that showed a cowboy riding a ferocious humpbacked bull. The cowboy held one hand high in the air and his hat was flying off his head. Every night before turning off the lights, Roy would lie on his pillow and stare at the poster, imagining that he was the sinewy young bull rider in the picture. 8 or 9 seconds was an eternity on top of an angry bull. But Roy imagined himself hanging on so tightly that the animal couldn't shake him no matter how fiercely it tried. The seconds would tick by until finally the bull would sink to its knees in exhaustion. Then Roy would calmly climb off, waving to the roaring crowd. That's how he played the scene in his mind. Maybe someday, Roy thought hopefully, his father would be transferred back to Montana. Then Roy could learn to ride bulls like a cowboy. On the same wall of his bedroom was a yellow flyer handed out to the drivers entering Yellowstone National Park. The flyer said, "Warning, many visitors have been gored by buffalo. Buffalo can weigh 2,000 pounds and sprint at 30 miles per hour, 3 times faster than you can run. These animals may appear tame but are wild, unpredictable, and dangerous. Do not approach buffalo." At the bottom of the handout was a drawing of a tourist being tossed from the horns of a fuming bison. The tourist's camera was flying one way and his cap was flying another, just like the cowboy's hat in the rodeo poster. Roy had saved the Yellowstone flyer because he was so amazed that anybody would be dumb enough to stroll up to a full-grown buffalo and snap its picture. Yet it happened every summer, and every summer some nitwit tourist got gored. It was exactly the sort of idiotic stunt that Dana Matherson would try, Roy thought as he contemplated his apology letter. He could easily envision the big goon trying to hop on a bison like it was a carousel pony. Roy took a piece of lined notebook paper out of his English folder and wrote, "Dear Dana, I'm sorry I busted your nose. I hope the bleeding has stopped. I promise not to hit you ever again as long as you don't bother me on the school bus. I think that's a fair arrangement. Most sincerely, Roy A. Eberhart." He took the page downstairs and showed his mother, who frowned slightly. "Honey, it seems a little too, forceful." "What do you mean, Mom?" "It's not the content of the letter so much as the tone." She handed it to Roy's father, who read it and said, "I think the tone is exactly right. But you better look up arrangement in the dictionary." The police captain slumped at his desk. This wasn't how he had planned to end his career. After 22 winters pounding the streets of Boston, he'd moved to Florida with the hope of 5 or 6 warm and uneventful years before retirement. Coconut Cove had sounded ideal. Yet it had turned out not to be the sleepy little village that the captain had envisioned. The place was growing like a weed. Too much traffic, too many tourists, and yes, even crime. Not nasty big city crime, but flaky Florida-style crime. "How many?" he asked the sergeant. The sergeant looked at Officer Delinko, who said, "Total of 6. "2 in each toilet?" "Yes, sir." "How big?" "The largest was 4 feet even. The smallest was 31 inches, Officer Delinko reported, reading matter-of-factly from his report. "Real alligators?" the captain said. "That's right, sir." Officer Delinko's sergeant spoke up. "They're gone now, Captain. Don't worry. A reptile wrangler came and got him out of the Johns." With a chuckle, he added, "The little one almost took the guy's thumb off." The captain said, "What's a reptile wrangler?" Never mind. "Believe it or not, we found him in the yellow pages." "Figures," the captain muttered. Normally, an officer of his rank wouldn't get involved in such a silly case, but the company building the Pancake franchise had some clout with local politicians. One of Mother Paula's big shots had called Councilman Grandy, who immediately chewed out the police chief, who quickly sent word down the ranks to the captain, who swiftly called for the sergeant, who instantly summoned, last and least, Officer Delinko. "What the heck's going on out there?" the captain demanded. "Why would kids single out this one construction site to vandalize?" "2 reasons," said the sergeant. "Boredom and convenience. I'll bet you $5 it's Juvies live in the neighborhood." The captain eyed Officer Delinko. "What do you think?" It seems too organized to be kids, pulling out even every stake, not just once, but twice. Think about what happened today. How many kids you know who could handle a 4-foot gator? Officer Delenko said. Seems awfully risky for a practical joke. Delenko's no Sherlock Holmes, thought the police captain, but he's got a point. Well then, let's hear your theory, he said to the patrolman. Yes, sir. Here's what I think, Officer Delenko said. I think somebody's got it in for Mother Paula. I think it's some kind of revenge deal. Revenge? Repeated the captain, somewhat skeptically. That's right, the patrolman said. Maybe it's a rival pancake house. The sergeant shifted uncomfortably in his chair. There's no other pancake house in Coconut Cove. Okay, said Officer Delenko, rubbing his chin. So then, how about a disgruntled customer? Maybe someone who once had a bad breakfast at Mother Paula's. The sergeant laughed. How can you mess up a flapjack? I agree, the captain said. He'd heard enough. Sergeant, I want you to send a patrol car by the construction site every hour. Yes, sir. Either you catch these vandals or you scare them away. It doesn't matter to me as long as the chief isn't getting any more phone calls from Councilman Bruce Grandy. Clear? As soon as they left the captain's office, Officer Delenko asked his sergeant if he could come in early to work on the Mother Paula patrol. No way, David. The overtime budget's tapped out. Oh, I didn't want any overtime, the patrolman said. All he wanted was to solve the mystery.